Hi, my name is Andrea and I'm a postdoc in the Crowther lab.
My name is Bello and I'm doing a postdoc at the Crowther lab.
Hello, my name is Lalasia Bialic-Murphy. I'm a lead scientist in the Crowther lab.
My name is Camille Delavaux and I'm a postdoctoral researcher.
I think statistics in general have been used pretty heavily and relied on in ecology in general, but I think the use of coding has become more and more important because the modeling that we do and the types of data that we have require something more than basic statistical tests that you can use software for and don't require coding as much. So I use both computer programming and biostatistics to be able to derive broad-scale patterns in ecology and to be able to test specific mechanisms of either how species are interacting or basic patterns in ecology.
Well, for my work, I use a lot of coding and I do a lot of modeling of biodiversity, how many species, where, which characters, and for all of this I use both coding in different languages and also information from remote sensing sources to combine with the biodiversity data.
For bioinformatics, especially with the group of microbes that I work with, many of them have never been identified, and so we need to look at sequence data, and that can only be looked at through coding. So it makes it actually possible to understand how climate change or disturbance is actually impacting these microbes, even basic things, just like what their diversity is in certain environments.
So at the Crowther lab, what we do is we explore how animals contribute to forest restoration and especially how animals disperse the seeds. That means that we are mixing a lot of data, so frugivore interactions, animal movements, and recruitment of plants. So for analyzing actually like the dispersal pattern in the space of the seed rain, we have to combine big data sets and get data from the field also. We know which plants and which animals interact between them, but we also can tag animals to see the movements in the landscapes, and we can also do experiments of recruitment and also like see the position. This like big process, we have different components and each component has a lot of data that we have to analyze and be able to do some modeling with that. So this is like a local level, but then we can scale up things to a global level, and that implies to input way more data like land cover, surfaces, satellite data, and movements all around the world.
So I started coding not as part of my research, but as part of my work as a teaching assistant. When I was doing my master's, I was teaching a class that was called biostatistics, and all the labs were based in a language called R, and I had to teach all the undergraduates how to do statistical work coding. So that's how I got into coding initially, and then I started to use it more and more in my research, and started to use it for different things that were not exactly statistics, but like bigger modeling of species distributions, and now modeling of biological communities.
So I was always curious about ecological process, and as you see, like ecological process has different components and then you need to integrate a lot of data. But actually to have good models, you need to have good analytical skills and you need to be able to deal with a lot of data. So that's why I started coding. Although it was like not my main topic, I really enjoy it, and I'm completely sure that without statistics, good analytical skills, and good coding, we couldn't solve these questions.
When I was an undergraduate, I tried as much as I could to stay away from all like statistics and coding, and I just wanted to be a field ecologist, but I don't really think that's a thing anymore. And so because I was really driven by the questions and wanting to answer them, I needed to learn how to properly analyze and actually get inferences. Then in my master's, I realized I really wanted to like expand on coding and did a lot of R and took a lot of independent study classes even because courses weren't really offered still back then. And that was really helpful. And then I when I got to my PhD, I actually wanted to just do a lot of greenhouse experiments, and my advisor somehow saw in me that I should be doing like sequencing and bioinformatics, so I was kind of like thrown into that and really enjoyed it and was able to answer many more questions.
So I started both studying and understanding statistics as well as computer programming, and while I was a conservation biologist in Hawaii, to look at temporal trends in community and population level processes. And over many, many years, I've kind of strengthened those skill sets and the complexity of both the statistical techniques and modeling that I do. It's also satisfying when you finally solve problems that have been hanging you up along the way in either your code or in understanding some complex statistical problem.
Mainly, I really like solving a problem. I really like wanting to do something and then being able to do it in the code and getting the result that I wanted. So there's a lot of satisfaction into getting it done, and I think that's how I mostly got into it, as like solving problems. And I really like people coming with specific issues they have with their codes, and I love solving it. It's really something that I'm passionate about.
Like throughout most of my education, all like statistics professors and bioinformaticians were always men, and only in my PhD did I start working with a woman who was a really good bioinformatician. And then also here at the GDC, the Genetic Diversity Center, there's 2 women that are awesome. And so that's been like really nice to just have them as a role model.
Well, I just have a message for all the girls that want to go into coding. I feel that never think you are too less. You will be able to do whatever you want. Just do it with passion, and that will move you forward what you want.
I guess another point is that in the real world of research, you don't need to be an amazing coder, an amazing statistician to be successful. Collaborations are very important, and so if you're stronger in one area, you can still do great things in collaboration with others, but it's still important to be able to like speak their language and communicate with them and have some basic understanding.
Just stick with it. If you have a passion for it, and whether or not you feel that certain things come really intuitively to you, like statistics or coding, or they don't, those are just techniques that we can learn over time, and it's really about the ultimate goal of doing something you enjoy.
Coding is fun. Coding is something all of us can do, and so if you're interested, you should definitely look into it and start practicing. I think to get better at coding, there's nothing like practice more than just learning theory. It's just doing it.